welcome to CMO Dialogues. We have with us today Poulomi Roy, CMO, RSH Global. Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining us today. It's really wonderful to have you here. We're looking forward to hearing your insights. Ma'am, you've been a marketing professional for almost 2 decades now. Can you start by identifying 3 to 4 core marketing functions that have changed forever with new concepts and technologies coming into the market?
Hi, everybody. Good morning. And as usual, it's a pleasure to catch up with all of you. I don't know whether the conversation is going to be meaningful or not, but it's always good to come across and speak to industry people, hear a lot, because you guys meet so many other people. So it's both way. Even I get to learn a lot. Yeah, it's been 17 and a half years. When you say 2 decades now, like, yes, that's quite some time. Uh, Evolution, yes. Core marketing functions and it changes if I were to identify. I don't think the function of marketing has changed from its, from the basic core of it. If we were to go down and understand if this function, what does it deliver to the business? Our core objective at the end of the day is to go to our consumers and ensure we nudge them enough to take consideration of our products or services, whatever we are trying to sell. And persuasion is if I have to boil it down to that one word, is effectively what we all are trying to do. Having said that, certain media per se, the tools, the various tools, the various mediums, the mixes, the media landscape has evolved a lot. And that precisely brings us down. If you reflect back, the changes happened in all of our lives as well, especially as our country has seen the digitization happening, the penetration of various mediums into various households, and the way consumers have started behaving with every medium. That has evolved over the years. And therefore, new tools, new ways of looking at it, the content, the gamut of content that is coming today, the way today the importance of medium has come up in a very big way. So if I were to precisely talk about it, which I think I've spoken multiple times in a lot of other forums as well, that the medium is important than the message, and that's something we all studied in our college, and we never, the theory didn't hold a lot of solid grounds to it, because there was a time when we said that content is the king, and therefore it has a larger effect on the audience, on the way you present yourself on that medium. Having said that, in the last, I think, 10 to 15 years, the tables have also turned. I think every medium has come up with its own set of rules. And it is also dictating to a large way we as marketers are presenting and talking about the content that we want to talk about our products. That has fiercely changed. If I were to give you an example, storytelling about your brand, about your product, using the tool of marketing and communication has been an age-old phenomenon, right? And we have had lovely campaigns and stories that have etched a mark in all of, as we have grown over the years. And it's been a part of pop culture. But nowadays, I think it's the other way around. Depending upon the medium, you first decide upon the duration and then you work backwards that are you able to make a effective communication of your product. To an extent, I think that's one of the major change that I have noticed, that a lot of times the medium is dictating the terms of the brand and its communication to a large extent. That is a visible change that I have seen. That facet has actually fascinated me also a lot, and I've tried to understand it. How does this work? We all have seen that change happening at a very practical level, that this particular medium operates in this way, and therefore if I have to access this medium for reaching out to my audiences, I perhaps have to retrofit my brand communication or my marketing endeavors to suit this medium. That has happened a lot. That change is something I've observed for the last 10, 15 years, to be precise.
There's also performance marketing has become the buzzword, and that has drowned out conversations about brand building. What is your main marketing philosophy?
To be very honest, I always felt marketing has to be performance driven. When was the time we did marketing and not perform? Ideally, if you are a good marketer, it should affect every marketing activity should have a fulfilling a business objective. That is to be understood. This is not something that we carry out just because it's fancy to do marketing and communication for your brand. It has to have it has to fulfill a business objective. That's ideally what the situation should be. So I genuinely believe that as a marketer, effective marketer or good marketer, however you want to put it across, the agenda is very simple, that it has to affect my business in a positive way. The point where I think the buzzword, as you said, it's because a lot of products or brands have a single channel of sales. Uh, for a brand like us who have multiple channels of sales, like we're present in a general trade, we're present in an e-commerce, we're present in quick commerce, we are also present in modern trades and its various formats.
Right.
Now, for us, performance is very different. It has related to the overall growth of the business. And in my life, for me, a consumer of joy it remains a consumer of joy, and I need to reach out to them in the most effective manner and persuade them to buy products of joy. The choice is where do you pick that product from is completely dependent on my consumer. A,
Right.
I need to be present. My product needs to be accessible to them at in all the channels. That's the work that my sales team does. Now, performance marketing has come to become a buzzword because quite obviously in the last 10 years, we have seen so many startups, and most of them start from e-commerce, their own e-commerce platform or the marketplaces, right? And there the modus operandi is very different, where you spend and you immediately see if it's converting. So the conversion funnel is what you're looking at, right? Because you need to build a business to substantiating the top lines are growing, and accordingly take a call and then move. The bigger challenge of performance marketing comes when you become omnichannels, like when there are multiple channels.
Right.
That's when the struggle starts happening, and then you understand that okay, brand building also needs to have a objective which is related to your business. Why do I need to build a brand? At the end of the day, maybe what we are talking here is that the gestation period of getting a brand noticed or bring into the consideration set takes a little time. But at the end of the day, you're also building a brand so that your consumers are aware of the brand, what are the products that you're selling, and then you do multiple layer of activities with them to bring them into the set of consideration, and then you leave them to finally convert. Now that conversion can happen through e-commerce, it can happen through D2C, it can happen through modern trade, or it can happen through a general trade. In our cases, businesses like us where we are present, of course, every marketing effort at the end of the day has to be performance led. But the buzzword more so because of so many startup, so many services, so many application based services has entered in our life, which have a very different curve, because every time you associate and do a campaign, it's directly equivalent to the number of downloads, and you know how many clicks and all, because there's only one way of one channel. Similarly, if you have a product that sells only online, then you are driven by such kind of language. But this is all again, this has existed. For example, I'll give you a very parallel fun example, which for us it's a lot of fun to see different types of trade operating. So when you look at a general trade, which is so different from a marketplace, an e-commerce or a marketplace, even there, despite all the outdoor or print or cinema or maybe TV campaigns that we do, we also had a trade marketing function where the last mile of conversion is where you go and spend and do a lot of display,
Right.
physical display, like we stopped danglers and posters and this and that. Why was that done? Because that was a channel of sales. That's the last mile when your consumer is coming to the shop. You need your product present. You would have spoken to them in various through various communication earlier. And now when the final purchase is happening, there is some kind of, relevant communication about your brand available there also. It's very similar. Again, that same thing happens in marketplaces today. Despite all that you're doing to make your brand, at the top of mind of your consumer, when the consumer is actually searching, so they come to know about your product and your brand, they go and do the search on the marketplace, and then there's this last moment conversion happening, and that's when all these pop-up banners come of other brands and this, and you know that you also have to spend there, because that is the last moment of decision making that is happening.
Right.
So, parallel universe, new things in terms of jargon and word, but there is relevance. That's how, because at the end of the day, human core values, psychology has not completely changed. These are
Right.
nuanced ways of dealing with your new consumer.
When you look back, you said 17 years career, what would you say is the most memorable campaign that you have executed, and why is it most memorable?
It was the year 2020. Yeah, I think that was the year. So we were grappling with this whole idea of why do we exist? What does Joy do differently than any other its competitors? And there was like a constant, uh, apart from building the brand philosophy and all of it, there was this constant discussion that if we have a very strong understanding of why do we exist in the world of skincare, it'll perhaps be very easy for us to carry our business forward for the longest term. And we realized that manufacturing is one of our key strengths,
Hmm.
and we were our own manufacturers, we were marketing ourselves, and we were selling our own products. And that made us realize that probably we exist because we can make quality skincare product at affordable price point and make that accessible to India. That's the reason that we exist in the world of skincare. We can make quality products. We'll always make it at an affordable price point, and we'll make it accessible to the Janta of India. Now, when that happened, that kind of mission vision situation was finally accepted and understood by the owners and the brand custodians and all of it. And I was constantly itching to have a manifestation of the same. Like, how do we tell the world? Okay. And so obvious things were like, why can't we do a campaign? Like, make a nice, heartwarming story and tell it out. At that point of time, I still remember one day I walked into office and something happened to me. I got across some bit of news. And I walked up to our chairperson, Mr. Sunil, and I said, can I talk to you for a minute? Leah, tell me, what is it? I said, can you make uh, products for extreme? I asked him, what are the different types of skin that you have seen so far? It's like most of the brands do dry skin. They will talk about oily skin and dry oily combination. These are the three types of skin. I said mostly that. I said, how about super sensitive skin? Like, what do you mean? I said, there are two, there's a type of skin I've come across that's for burnt victim and acid victim. He said, what's in your mind? Why don't you? So I said, are we in a position to create a range of product for these people? And that's when we started having this discussion. I said, why can't we manifest our purpose in a more logical way? He said, explain. Then I did come across some of the very good campaigns done by brands like Nike and all for the hijab campaign of Nike. Then I made them understand that, if we have a purpose and we want to manifest it, why don't we actually do it real time and make a comeback and become one of those few brands in India who are not doing a cause but a purpose-led campaign.
Right.
That's when Joy Sensitive came up. We came up with a range of product, and we started talking to some of the NGOs. Atijeevan was one of the NGOs, which was headed by Pragya. She still heads the NGO, Pragya. And we got in touch with them and started getting a lot of insights about the skin. We made a basic range of product. Now the question was, why them? There were two reasons for it. A, most of these women came from economically backward
Right.
society. That's why they fall prey to this kind of a heinous crime. For them, of course, there were great products available in the market, but most of them were pharmacy led, also very expensive. So
Right.
this again plays a role that we are saying we make quality product. Now, nothing can get more sensitive than a skin of an acid attack or a burn victim. And if you are able to make products for them, that means you do showcase the fact that you can make the best product at affordable price point, because that again, being a manufacturer, quality is in our control. We don't have to rely on a third party for manufacturing. And the fact that these girls would want it, because at the end of the day they're girls, and one day an incident happened, and from the very next day their life turns upside down. And the same girl who was talking like any other teenager to her friend or her thing about color cosmetics and looking beautiful and all, and one fine day, beauty has changed its meaning. And that's when we first did this campaign called Skin of Courage. That was a first purpose-led campaign. Post that, while doing that campaign, all of us got so deeply involved, and it did turn apart in my life as well. And I said, I wanted to carry it forward. That rarely happens. You come out of one campaign, you go to the next one. Of course, there's a trail, but this gave rise to the next cause-driven marketing campaign of Just Empower One. And uh, that year onwards, more or less every time we took up to a stage like Filmfare or any big stadium, or we had a podium to ourselves, we wanted to utilize it to speak about this cause and get people to, crowdsource people to actually follow this campaign and get in more entries, get in more, just support and voice it in different ways. So from Skin of Courage to Just Hire One to Just Empower One, there were three set of campaign, and we still do it. I think it has been one of the most fulfilling campaigns so far. I do feel a sense of satisfaction that we are perhaps one of those few um, uh, brands in India who are not as big in terms of the size of it, but had the audacity or the foresight, or whatever you call, to believe in something like this and get a very solid purpose to your existence. And I think it was one of the best manifested campaigns so far. I wish I had uh, 10 times more budget of what I have. But having said that, I had to convince people to do it did make us, relevant for a lot of people.
So this has been a successful campaign for you, and yet taught you something. But the greatest lessons are taught by failures, right? Can you
Absolutely.
can you talk about some campaign that really tested you and still taught you something new?
Yeah, absolutely. The I don't know failure or not, but what taught me is the first campaign we did with Bharti. That was way back in 2015, and I was talking about taking her Bharti Singh as a brand ambassador, and everybody looked at Superstar Agrawal still comes and tells me. Everybody told me, "Have you lost it? Is your company going down the drain? Why are you taking, instead of a celebrity, why are you taking an oversized woman?" I think it was way ahead of its time. Okay, way ahead of its time, as in, I love that campaign. And the fact that at that point of time, most of the body lotion category people were making the shape of the bottle into a woman's 36, 24, 36. And here I was talking about Bharti in a full form. And I still remember when I went to talk to her, she was under disbelief. And she told me, Poulomi, most of the people asked me to endorse chach, atta, ghee. And what are you talking about? So it was, yeah, she's damn fine. She took it in her stride. She's like, मेरे को सब कोई आटा दाल घी के बारे में से बोलते हैं, what are you telling? I said, no, I want you have lovely skin. Why don't you do this for us? And she's sporting enough to take this up also. Learning is that being a challenger brand, I always feel there's a lot of scope and pushing the boundary, and I love that. Perhaps if I would have been working for the number one market share kind of a brand, it would have been difficult. because there is always the fear of losing your position. As a challenger brand, you don't have that. There's only space to grow and there's nothing much to lose. The learning was that sometimes you need a lot of mind. So, for example, one of the things was that there was PR around it, but we were not into a very organized set of PR. I wish I did that. Okay.
Right.
Yeah, that's one part of it because it matters. It matters in the long run. Okay, we did get a lot of PR organically as an organization. We just started off like I joined them in 2014 and 2015. This was my second campaign after working with Anushka. This was the second campaign that I was working on, and we were not into a formal understanding of how the role of PR can actually help. That's one learning. And the next time I do something, I better have a overall understanding from the market. Secondly, I don't know whether it's a learning or not. Even if it is an observation, I wouldn't take that as a learning because I like to play the odds. It's very simple. But a lot of people did tell me that it's way ahead of its time. So sometimes when you take certain call and talk in a certain manner, maybe the language is something people are not getting there.
Right.
I don't take that as a huge learning. Rather, I would like to keep that away because that's something I'll keep still doing that. There are times you need to push it. You can't wait for somebody else to push and then push it because there's never the right time.
Some marketers have referred to the marketing funnel as a shape-shifting creature. Over the years, the marketing funnel, the way it looks has really changed. From a traditional funnel, it looks more like a balloon toy now. How has your approach to marketing shifted over the last 5 years? And how do you divide your media budget?
There are a couple of things that have changed, and what I have done, I'll tell you, I've tried to keep it very simple and basic. Now, if you look at it, data, uh, or play again a word everybody was toiling with. Oh, it's become data centric and this great. It was again, as I said, it was always data centric. At the end of the day, data is a reflection of an action that your consumer has done, and until unless you pay attention to the fact that what triggered, that's what marketers have to do. You read the action and you leave it at that, and you don't take calls beyond that. As a marketer, you're supposed to go beyond, which is basically where the insight part comes in, that you try and understand what triggered them to do this action which you're reading right now in terms of the data.
Right.
That I think has been a biggest problem that I have faced, that right now with overload of data, everybody who's able to read the data or just go through the numbers are trying to make inferences from that, whereas I think it should be democratized and understood by the every member of the team, that what you're reading at this point, you have to go beyond these numbers and try to read the numbers and find out what was the trigger for this action of your consumers, and that's when you will be able to understand that what are the things that you should be doing in
Right.
order to either change the output or continue with this output. Having said that, I also believe that every brand has to decide its own marketing thing. Of course, I do believe that as a marketer, if there is a change that is happening in my identified consumer's life, and most importantly, try and understand the relationship of my consumer with that form of medium or whatever new has come into their life. I'll give you an example. Internet penetration, digital media is growing. Of course, it is growing. But I have to go and understand if I have identified a cohort or a consumer set, what is it that they are doing with their phones, with their internet connection, what relationship do they have, and that relationship differs. It's not
Right.
right. That understanding has to be there, because I'm a marketer and I choose this profession, and the basic part of the core of this profession is to identify your consumers and their lives. Now comes a brand. uh, what stage is your brand in? That will define a lot. So, for example, when you are holding on to a business and a product, there are multiple facets to it. You have to be of absolute understanding of your category and the product that you're trying to sell, because it's not only black and white. There are a lot of subsets that you need to understand. What if you're FMCG, in what category of FMCG you are, what are you trying to sell? Even though in FMCG there is food, there is skincare, there are so many other things.
Right.
In skincare also, what is it that, at what pyramid are you there? So that kind of understanding of your product and what it delivers at a functional level to your consumer, the functional benefits, whether it is need based, whether it is want based, there are several aspects to it. That having clarity of that is important. Then understanding the other part of business. How are you planning to sell it? Where are you planning to sell it? What is the cost at which you want to sell it? That understanding also is important. And then comes the third function, which is marketing. Now, once you are aware of this, you know where your brand is. What is the journey that your brand is ready to take? I'll give you a simple example. A lot of people have come back and asked me about joy, okay, and why do we pay attention to impact, and what are we trying to do? See, Joy is a 35-year-old brand, but effectively it's been advertising in a very formatted way from 2015. They've been advertising from 2011, but that was a sporadic way, and a proper way from 2015. So it's a very nascent brand, or so called. We have existed, but that was mostly through trading. And we've sold our products and made business out of it. The marketing is a very young exercise that they've started, right? So now I will never have the kind of awareness, the very fact of being aware that Joy is a skincare brand as against a 35, 40-year-old brand that has existed in the world of my consumer's life through marketing. The relevance and the importance, whether it's a man, whether it's a woman, or it's a child, I still have a long way to go to, in fact, make sure that every Indian in India is aware that Joy is a skincare brand. They sell these kind of products. So my journey will be very different from, I would like to take name of a Pops or an India, who have existed and marketed themselves for so many number of years. So therefore, the choice, the mix, the journey that you have to make will differ. And of course, it will evolve because my consumer's life is also changing.
That's right.
I have to be observant of the change and not just go by the trends. Okay, this is trending now. Okay, great, trending. So what? How does it make a difference to my life? Is it making a major difference in my consumer's life? If yes, I should know how. And at the same time, what is the plan of my brand? How much scaling are they talking of? What kind of effect that do they want to have in the market? What are the ambitions? Okay, what are the ambitions of the business? The business has certain goals. So these things have to be kept in mind while you are, putting your journey together.
As per a Kantar study, one third of impact in building brand awareness comes from TV across categories. According to you, how important is TV to drive awareness for brands?
It is by far the most penetrated, and the reach is uncomparable, right? So there is no two way about the fact that we still have this medium to be a very, very relevant medium for driving awareness and reach. The reason being that, as you said, it's a very big base and there's this constant comparison. I believe India is a land of and not a land of all. We just add on. I haven't seen something getting deleted completely as of now. There is rapid change happening. At the same time, I would say the base is quite huge. And if you are talking of India, and for that matter, a lot of people, I mean, I take a lot of pride that in my initial years, until maybe a little less right now, but throughout the initial years of my career, I have traveled the length and breadth of the country. And to a large extent, I'm aware of uh, the so-called Bharat, India, your own, land. And you have to go there to believe and see that how people react and what is their source of entertainment. What is the first thing that you want to buy when you have reached a certain level? For example, it was a very nice thing somebody told me, even now when you are like climbing up your economical status ladder, you want to buy the flat screen TV for an hour. You don't upgrade your package yet. Upgrade your phone. But you still want to have a flat screen TV ना? Living
That's true.
flat screen का टीवी रहेगा. अब डिबेट है कि वो कनेक्टेड रहेगा कि केबल कनेक्शन रहेगा. So, as of now, the numbers say, and the good part of it, we still have facilities to monitor that. So, of course, building awareness, and we've seen this, yeah, we've seen TV getting every sort of ADEX, the ADEX report shows every form of advertisers have come. Even people who want to sell their, applications or an online service use TV for awareness. That
Right.
is a very big indicator that, of course, it drives awareness to another level.
Right. So, how does Joy prioritize its spends within the traditional TV advertising?
We have shifted our core 2 years, 3 years back. We
Hmm.
were more into the regular form of advertising, summer, winter, GC led, and GC and cricket. All of we, as we all know, that have mammoth reach in India, right? Nobody, can't supersede that. So, last 2 to 3 years back, we started focusing on impact.
Right.
Because we were at that position in our growth trajectory where we needed that burst of awareness
Hmm.
and reach. Um, and that is the reason why you will see that we are slightly more inclined towards spending on impact properties, more than rather than the usual, uh, television plan. That shift has happened for us, and it was a deliberate attempt to do something differently. It's worked in our favor. I would say around 65% is towards impact right now in TV
Right.
planning. You have properties like Filmfare. You have properties like Times Fresh Face, which is again on-ground property. When I say impact, I'm talking about various kind of property, but majorly on IPL and WPL and all of that.
Right. See, you said India is a land of and not all. So, according to you, what is the winning mix for a marketer when you take the overall effectiveness of TV plus digital advertising? What is the winning mix?
This is totally dependent on the category, depends upon the brand, the position, where the brand life cycle of the brand, totally dependent on that. There is no advice that can work one fit to many. What I can say, some things interest me a lot. I love the combination of on ground and digital. I love the combination of digital and TV, but on ground and digital is fascinating. I just love it because you start having a dialogue, or some kind of an interaction then online, and then you translate that into a physical experiences. It leaves a great impact. I love this combination. And obviously, TV, digital, on ground, these are great combinations to have.
Now, coming to Joy, recently you announced Shah Rukh Khan as your brand ambassador. From Anushka Sharma, Bharti Singh, and now Shah Rukh Khan. What drives the choice of a brand ambassador for Joy, and what was the thought behind Shah Rukh Khan?
So, Mr. Khan is for the face wash category, to be precise. And I think the question was why not?
Hmm.
So I think we have seen. So as a marketer, when I was pretty much young, I always felt this that we used a lot of women
Hmm.
about men's category. But I think we in the last couple of years we have seen edible oils and using men to promote it. We do see a lot of, but when it comes to skincare and all that, I haven't seen not too much of men talking about it. I'll tell you, for us again, the need. What did Joy have? Joy wanted that voice.
Hmm.
We wanted that awareness. We wanted that reach.
Hmm.
Yes, the kind of space and the time we are in. With IPL being one of the major media properties that we are spending on, we want to heighten our awareness. And then when you talk of heightening our awareness, these are some of people like Mr. Khan have been the voice of India, irrespective of your gender, age, demography. You like him, there is something when he says, people listen. And
Yes.
and this combination of all of this seemed to be a crescendo for us. That let's do it. Let's give this this combination a thought. And when we did that, of course, we had to reach out to him. We had to tell him what we stand for. And when it comes to women, men, women, irrespective, everybody likes him. That's a different story. For women, especially, there's a soft corner when it comes to Mr. Khan, and we have common traits in terms of the way he's spoken and represented women. And we've been doing this work for the last couple of 10 years almost, about trying to break all the stereotypes, because I believe as an industry we've been responsible like hell for putting up all the wrong standards of beauty. And it is, as much as people say Bollywood movies and songs and all of that, I think an equal amount of effort to stereotype women and beauty lies with the personal care and the skincare and the cosmetic industry. We've done that for years, and at a larger frequency, because ads and all play like so many times in a day. That somewhere had to stop. Fortunately, we were treading on that path for last 10 years, speaking to him, understanding the fact that we don't think he will say no to it, because we were confident about the product, what we were speaking, what we wanted to do. He said yes to it. We also felt that, okay, this is a time for us to heighten the kind of awareness that we're looking at. And why not, why not Mr. Khan, if all goes well? So it just comes out as a package. There's not like one reason, multiple reasons which just seem to come together.
Joy has been advertising for the last decade, but the brand has existed for much longer. You said around 35 years. But now the personal care category is seeing heavy disruption from startup brands. How are you tackling competition from these challenger brands in your category who are experimenting, bringing new products, creating new categories? How do you tackle them?
It's fascinating time. So you get to learn a lot from them. And something very nice is what has happened also, that D2C brands have also created a lot of new categories
Hmm.
which traditional brands were not experimenting and getting into. For example, categories like serum, categories like Upton that has worked and all. Now, see, it's a very nice osmosis. Okay. So once they grow big, they want to come to the offline thing. And here are all the legacy brands who want to are waiting to see what is a new trend that catching up. And by the sheer might of distribution and all, they can go all out.
Hmm.
So there are different worlds which collide at certain points, but will coexist. And
Interesting.
there's nothing to be scared of, because each one has its own strength. So like you said, they're new brands, they have the zeal to experiment a lot, come up with categories, create new demands in the market, create new wants for consumers. And here's a legacy brand, like, okay, this is catching up, let's go all out and let's make it mass, let's take these to the masses. So
Right.
one has the power of distribution, strength, money, advertising to go and make it a mass category. The others have the innovative, instinct of, okay, come up with something new and keep, giving new things to your consumer. So challenges, I wouldn't look at it like it's more to see that how there is disruption in the industry, and skincare especially, there has been a lot. It will continue. It will continue. There will be, new trends coming in. You got to give it some time to wait and watch what works. And for us, whatever we enter into has to have a mass appeal. So
Hmm.
the vision of your business needs to be very clear.
Right.
How do you want to run it? If you are here to stay and if you want to grow your business, what are the pillars you want to strengthen? And how do you see that happening? That, if clarity is there, then you can only observe, learn, implement certain things, and then move on.
This was a truly insightful conversation, ma'am. It's really nice talking to you, and thank you so much for sharing your thoughts and so many valuable insights from your experience.
It's
Thank you so much.
always a pleasure. Thank you so much, guys, for having me.